Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're still on the press reaching you live from the nation's capital in Abuja. Now we get to invite our guest analyst in person of Richard Oriri, a politician and of course not a new face. Welcome to the studio.
It's my pleasure.
Good to have
Good
you.
morning.
Good morning.
All right, so before we go ahead with the rising spate of one chance, especially in Abuja, we've heard it's been one too many. So there's this story of a missing person. His name is John Bartholomew, who he left Otukpo since Sunday, and he was on his way to Abuja, and then it's been reported that till now nothing has been heard of him. All his line has been switched off, and they've all called him severally. So please, if anyone have seen him or have any information relating to his whereabouts, call the number showing right there beside him. His name again is John Bartholomew. And then please, let's all be careful, especially when you're entering vehicles. The rising spate of insecurity, one chance, it's on the rise now, and we just hope that the security officials are able to do something about it, and we pray and hope that Mr. John Bartholomew is found immediately, very soon, and reunited with his family.
All right, away from that, now let's get into business proper for the press this morning. I'd like to take one story that is on Nigerian Tribune and of course on Daily Sun. Ondo lawmakers begin impeachment process against Deputy Governor. That's for Nigerian Tribune. And then Daily Sun adds it that Ondo Assembly moves to sack Deputy Governor over 300 million naira bulletproof SUV. I mean, he was only given power for 3 months or so, and then he's bought over 300 million naira SUVs. Mr. Richard, what do you have to say about that?
My sister, the issue of a deputy governor in Nigerian constitution, we need to revisit it.
I think that's like the third time I'm hearing that.
Yes, we need to revisit it, because even the current president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he became governor of Lagos in 1999, I think before he finishes his 8 years tenure, he changes a deputy twice. And look at what is going on in Kano between Ganduje and Kwankwaso. Ganduje was deputy to Kwankwaso, and I think he was the first deputy governor to become
The
governor in Nigeria. Just look at Edo State.
Edo State.
What is happening between Obaseki and Philip. Now, Ondo State is becoming an issue that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria need to be revisited. Because deputy governor cannot just be a spare tire that the governor can rise up any day, any minute, any hour and say you are gone. It happened like that again in Adamawa State between 2015 and 2019. It happened in Adamawa. And like the case of Ondo State, the governor was away from, was it June? And he returned back to Nigeria September, June or July or so, about 3 months. And he handed over the seat of power of Ondo State to the deputy to act according to the Constitution on his behalf. And I think within that period of his absence, the deputy governor must have done something, because the commissioners who are the executive members carrying out the executive functions with the governor, the acting governor, who is the deputy governor now, then they are all appointees of the governor, who is the current sitting governor. What is the governor Akeredolu? They were feeding him informations, even that he was not around, the actions of the deputy governor. From the information we read on the paper, I think he was accused of using the palliative money meant for palliative, to buying bulletproof car for himself worth over 300 million naira. That is one of the allegations. But I think that is just an avenue to nailing him. Buying a bulletproof car, even as deputy governor, the current governor has a bulletproof car. Maybe when he bought the bulletproof car for himself, the deputy governor was not accorded the same gesture. And that is why when he was away, the deputy have to buy for himself. Because the security
like what is good for the goose is equally good for the gander.
So I think that is not the main issue. But the period was used to test the loyalty of the deputy, and I think he wasn't using his wisdom enough to prove that loyalty to the governor. You know, when the governor came back, the first thing he did was to sack all the media aides to the deputy governor, and directed that the Ministry of Information will be responsible for every anything concerning information in the deputy governor's office. His first thing he did was to sack all the media aides to the deputy governor. So the issue there is political, possibly, and it is like the current deputy governor contested election with the current governor before he became the deputy governor. So they may have, say, their political differences, and the deputy governor was not smart enough to show that he wasn't. He is still eyeing the seat of the governor.
So is it an issue of smartness here?
A smartness, because if you know that the Constitution, you have your right in the Constitution as deputy governor, but there's a limit you will go. There's a limit. You look at the office of the governor, the deputy governor in Edo State was locked up, and nothing has been done about it. No lawyer is talking about it. Nobody is saying anything about it. The governor has done his own and is done. And nothing is done.
Nothing has been done about it.
So you will see clearly from there that the deputy governors in Nigeria, they don't have much. But that's you saying one thing and then you mean the other, because you actually said that the Constitution does not give them so much liberty that they have to return back to the Constitution. And then on the flip side, you talked about smartness. So the smartness I am talking about is that since you know that you don't have strong leg on the ground as deputy governor, what you ought to be doing is to play that loyalty role to the governor.
Also, because he didn't play loyalty. He's not smart.
He's not smart because if he has the wisdom to see that if I go this way, it will not go well between me and my principal. Okay, there are areas he should not cross, and there are areas he should cross. Okay, maybe he has gone beyond boundaries. And the governor is not happy with it.
Okay, now speaking about Constitution, would you rather they scrap deputy governors and vice presidents, or they just give them more power almost equal to the governor? Because now, taking from what you've said now, let's take Benin, Edo State as a perfect example, where they've locked the office of the deputy governor, and of course, as of yesterday, the governor was pointing to somewhere in the GRA as his new office, that go to that said place and that's your new office. So now, if the deputy governor cannot even talk against his own boss, what is the fate of the layman in Nigeria talking and speaking up against the governor?
The same electoral process brought the two of them. If the governor is sacked down today, the deputy will go. Goes. And if the deputy is sacked, like what happened in Bayelsa in 2019? Yes, where the current governor took the position from the real person that won the election. What is that his name? Somebody Lion or something. David Lion. He won the election, clear. But his deputy has an issue, and the Constitution of Nigeria said, since the deputy has this issue and they all came on joint ticket, he has to go. And that's why this man now, who is there as governor of Bayelsa State, is become governor. The same thing brought the two of them, but there is we have to revisit the constitution to make the power of the deputy so strong and stiff that the governor cannot just rise up any day and say you are gone. Yes, there is a process in the constitution. It's like whether section 182 or section 180 something. The process by which a deputy governor can be impeached is there. You will be served first, later of impeachment. And when you are served within 7 days, you have to respond to it. If you respond, they still have about whether 14 days or so for the governor will set up a panel that you will go and answer query. After you answer that query, the panel will have to write a report to the House. That is the House of Assembly. Like in the case of Ondo, they have 26 member of House of Assembly in Ondo State. So out of these 26, now it's like about whether 23 have signed the impeachment process against him. So even when they are constituting this panel that the deputy will go and answer this query, these allegations leveled against him, when he will go and answer the panel that they will set up, how are you sure that they will not come to play the role what the governor wants or what the House of Assembly wants? So the process is too slim that deputy governors they don't have power at all.
Okay, so because you're talking about the limits of the deputy governor, especially of deputy governors, especially looking at the constitution, and then like Mercy talked about the vice president, you also know that the vice president, at least to an extent, he's chairing the economic committee, but then you just begin to wonder what is actually the duty and the powers of the deputy governor. At some point, some people will just say it's just a lame duck, just keep following the principal and doing nothing. But then you just begin to wonder, why do you always have governors or principals who would bring people and then they just want to throw away their deputy chairman, the deputy governor at some point? If you look at some people who have been accusing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of bringing his own boys into the ministries, the Ministry of Coordinating Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Revenue, or FIRS, they keep accusing him of, why are you bringing your own boys? But then, if you recall, these are boys that he worked with in Lagos, so he trusts them so much. So why don't you have governors who, I am bringing this deputy again because I trust him? If you look at in Imo State elections, the coming elections, that will be the forthcoming elections in November, the governor has decided to change his deputy to someone else. So why don't you have people who will say, because I've worked with this person over time, so I should trust this person to come again or come back as a governor instead of looking for somebody else?
That's happened mostly when in the process of selecting a candidate for election, and the office of the deputy governor, where the governor will come from, the person that would anybody that have the ticket of the party as the flag bearer of the party for the governorship election, stakeholders will be called upon to say, now deputy governor is zoned to this area. The same area, stakeholders will come to say, this is the person that we are giving to you as your deputy. In most cases, the governorship candidate, they don't have the power on their own to select or appoint to whoever who will be their deputy. So they don't have that power, because the party at that time have the constitutional right, the power to say, this is the person we are giving you as deputy. It might not be the choice of the governorship candidate, but you have to accept it because you are under the party.
Let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Tell us your name or where you're calling us from.
I'm Collins from Otupo, Benue State.
Collins from Otupo, go ahead.
You see, there is something I happens to see in a political, I don't know how to put it. You see, these politicians, the moment the power are being bestowed on them, they became power drunk. Like, let's see in the terms of our presidents now. When Bola Ahmed Tinubu come from the west, they said the next vice president should come from the north. He picked Shetima from the far northeast. Are you telling me now, without the impact of Shetima, can the APC won in Borno State, more especially the northeast? So same thing applies to this our government. When all this their deputy, through the age of how they cover up in their area and they got all these votes and they came in, they begin to use the power. That's why I say power drug is just all over. You look to it, there is something they just got our light. Guys, I'm just making calls by now. You see, there is something that is so much bothering me. I don't know whether our politicians or the masses are looking up to it. Now, we have a governor, our state for 8 years, some that doesn't impact anything, even to the economy, nor to the state, nor to the masses, not especially by outgoing governor Ondo, who is owing more than how many months, how many years in some of the parastatals. And the same time again, they are paying them pension. Somebody that spent 35 good years serving the government, they are not collecting a penny. So many of them are dying for hunger. The same thing after they come out from that governor, they still come out to contest for Senate again. What a mess. Not that people are not seeing all these things. You see, now a liter of gas in my place today is 1,150 naira. And all the heavy loads, it is only the heavy seat that can carry them. Now a tuber of yam, they are buying it far north, east now, southeast now. A tuber that you buy in our place here is 1,500, 2,000 naira. Now they're going to feed. Everything is going wrong. Let's just look at least. This power drug is becoming too much.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Collins from Otupo, Benue State. Please land on your thoughts and let's take another headline.
Well, just like I was saying, the deputy governor's office, the constitution need to be revisited to make the office strong for the governor not to just stand up only day and say my deputy should go.
Okay, so let's take stories from, in fact, almost all the headline has the same story. Curfew in Kano as Tribunal sacks Governor Kabir Yusuf. And then we saw the curfew, and then at some parts of the country you have widespread jubilations, and at some part of the country they say, okay, well, they're chanting the solidarity song, we no go agree, we're hitting the happy court. So now let's get your thoughts in that regard. Two questions, and I'd like you to take them together. That's one on the side. And then secondly, why have we actually gotten to this point where electorates come out to the polling booths to cast their votes and choose who they want, but that's not what decides their fate. Their fate is finally gets decided by the tribunal or by the courts. Why do you think that we've actually gotten to that era?
I will take the two questions at once. What the challenge in our electoral system is, I can say we are having the problem majorly is coming from INEC. Presently, we have INEC as the electoral umpire that conduct elections, but the lapses from INEC angle is the reason the court has now become the second INEC in Nigeria. You don't just win an election and go to bed and say, I have won my election. You must pass through another stage again until you pass through that stage before you just say, okay, thank you, Jesus. Else, whatever the court decides, that is your fate. Is becoming like last month, August. All we were hearing was about House of Representative ruling up and down. In Imo State, in Abia State, about 4 were sacked. My friend Obina Oga, Esikwato and Umunoche Federal Constituency, he was sacked and said the tribunal said Onyejocha, Kiruka Onyejocha should be returned. You understand?
He's not even a minister.
The same thing happening almost even the same Kano, one House of Rep member was sacked almost everywhere. Almost everywhere. Then now September is governors. In this case of Kano, the 3 grounds of the petitioner's prayer all granted by the tribunal. One was that the governor, the sitting governor, was not duly nominated as candidate of NNPP, that he was not a member of the party. Another one was that he was about overvoting. And again, the court again said over, was it 16,000 or how many thousand votes cancelled, that the ballot papers were not signed and stamped by INEC. And in that regard, they have to annul, invalidate those ballot papers vote. That is where I said this problem is coming from INEC. How can INEC send the ballot paper to a polling unit without signing it, without stamping it, making it official, authenticating the ballot papers before sending it to polling units? So that problem basically is INEC problem. Why do we have legal department in INEC? And in law, any document that is not signed is not valid. Any unsigned document is invalid to law. So INEC have legal department that knows about all of this. Why would they allow their ballot papers to get to polling unit unsigned? If that was what actually happened? Because from I listened to the legal the legal director also of NNPP this morning before coming here, and he was saying that there was no time that these ballot papers that the tribunal ruled that the tribunal ruled that the ballot papers were not, that these ballot papers, there was no time that these ballot papers were brought before the court as part of their evidence for counting or to check. There was no time that the tribunal went through these ballot papers that there's no.
All right.
How did they come about the fact that ballot papers were unsigned? Where do they see it? And there was nothing like that presented before the court during the argument. So I basically, what has happened in Kano, I thank God that the political leaders, that is the leaders of the both political parties, NNPP and APC, they are talking to their followers not to take laws into their hands, because the sitting governor now, he still have 2 point of appeal. He will still go to appeal court. From appeal court, he still have another place called Supreme Court again that he will still go to.
Are they supposed to go to Supreme Court?
Yes, it will get up to Supreme Court. You still have appeal court to go for them to interpret what the tribunal have said. They have, on the point of law to them, they have annulled the election, and they say the APC candidate should be sworn in. And the governor still have another grant of appeal.
All right,
so everybody should be, everywhere should be counted. If not, Kano is a very dicey place once this kind of a thing is
and
happening.
Definitely, like they say, once he touches the nose, the eyes will definitely cry. So when it affects Kano, it affects other neighboring states. So the Vanguard still says that political cases taking monumental toll on the judiciary. That's what the CJN was lamenting yesterday, and the Daily Sun says the same story but in different perspectives. Says CJN bemoans rise in litigation, warns appeal court justices against Greek gifts. So that's why I bring that question again. Why do electorates go out to exercise their franchise, but yet it is not what is being that's not your final faith? The court is the final arbiter. No,
this issue there, that is still the same point I raised. INEC is the problem. If INEC can put their house in order.
But the CJN is not seeing it as that.
No. The CJN, what the CJN has said is that the lapses from elections is why you who will be aggrieved, the other person that is aggrieved, and you have seen the lapses, you have seen the problem where INEC ought to have corrected and they failed to correct it. You have seen it. And you are not happy with what happened. What you do is to go to court for interpretation.
So do you think that those people who have been asking or arguing that we should leave election materials, we should leave our regular courts, the election material cases away from our regular courts and just stay at election tribunals? Do you agree with that argument?
No. It's not. Election tribunal is there, but there are still other cases that the superior court will have to interpret. Election tribunal, mostly it's like they deal with rules. Like before the INS go to anywhere to say they are conducting election, they have the rules and regulation guiding the electoral process. And there are still other constitutional matters arising from elections. And in such cases, that's why most cases get up to Supreme Court for legal, proper constitutional interpretation of the law. So that is just the issue.
Hello, good morning. Good morning. Collins from Otupo. You have less than 60 seconds.
Hello?
Good morning. Collins from Otupo. Go ahead.
Good morning. It's saying Collins. You see?
Go ahead.
There is one issue going on during the tribunal, at the presidential election tribunal.
Okay.
If you people can still remember, there was a petition, either is it the PDP or the Labour Party also, petitions Chetima that is having a dual election or something of that nature, that he was elected for the primary senator seat and at the same time being elected as a vice president of the federation under APC. According to the rule, the judges imply that it is not in order of any other party to petition them, rather a member of an APC to petition them that something is happening. So what am I saying in essence? In the aspect of this NMPP now, that won in Kano, we are seeing all this thing because Babajide has become the chairman of APC. Just of recent, having the power to do anything now. What are we saying in essence? Now, is it an NMPP person that petitioned the governor or a person from the APC? If it is from the person from the APC, then we are waiting to hear from the judges. Because the same thing that is good for the gender is also good for the gander. In the sense that what actually happened in the side of Chetima should be implied to that.
All right, thank you so much.
On the other side, they were saying that the ballot paper we are not signed up. Look, there are certain things we have to let go. Many a times, if I have the chance, I'll tell Obi, just go. Allow peace to reign. If I have the chance, I'll tell Atiku the same thing.
Thank you so much, Collins.
All right,
we have to go ahead. Thank you for your contribution. Let's take out the stories.
Okay, all right. Now, away from that, the U.S. court orders Chicago University to, of course, release President Tinubu's academic record. And then there's been lots of things going on in that regards. As regards, of course, we've seen one result on the internet which we do not know whether it's true or not. And now the PDP has said, oh, they have the president's university academic records with them. What's your take on the release of these academic records after that, after the tribunal has
all right, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning,
sir. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Mr. Balagana.
Okay, Mr. Balagana, please join me in the conversation.
I'm calling from Mina.
Go ahead.
State capital of Niger State.
You have less than 1 minute.
Yes, I want to talk on instead of that Kano Tribunal election.
Okay.
So when I read through the internet, I see that INEC have declared the NNPP winner. And by then, the APC candidate, you congratulated him. So my question is, why did he go to court after doing the congratulations? It means that they don't have sincerity. What you say with their mouth is different from what is inside their heart. When Pulo Johnson lost the election, congratulated Buhari, and he did never go to court. Even in Niger State here, The PDP lost. I congratulate the Bago, who is the APC. I never go to court. But in the Kano, this man congratulate, and he now go to court. So something is wrong. That is a bad example in Kano State.
All right. Maybe he congratulated and he still felt after congratulations that it was his right.
All right. Thank you so much.
I still don't need the wife for somewhere. Let her go to court again. Thank you. That is my stake.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Kano, from understanding, it was not the candidate that went to court. It was the party.
The party.
It was the party that went to court.
Okay, so let's.
So your question concerning Atiku and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's result. Yeah, is coming so late, and the result that he requested the university to bring out will not even be handed over to him. It's not his property. Either the university will send it to, if it is the court that he wants them to avail the information to, they will take it to send it to the court, or Tinubu's lawyer will be the one to receive it. It's not even Atiku. And even if Atiku should get it, what will he do with it? He has nothing additional to add to what is taken to the Supreme Court. There is no further evidence that will be allowed at the Supreme Court apart from the evidence presented before the Election Petition Tribunal. So it's just like the party said, APC said that is an effort in futility or something like that. This is a fruitless chase. So he has nothing to gain from what he's pursuing, because he will not take it to Supreme Court and they will adopt it at all. Whatever he has presented before the Election Petition Tribunal is what will be presented at the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court will only look into the ruling of the appeal court. That's all.
Okay, speaking of Supreme Court, well, my petition was technically knocked out. That's coming from Peter Obi. Do you agree with that?
His petition was technically knocked out. That is why he is going to Supreme Court. He has filed his case at the Supreme Court, 50 grounds. They will not go outside what the appeal court ruling said. Okay, they say this. I want interpretation on this that they have said. They say this. I want interpretation on this that they have said. They say this. He won't go outside, and he has no room to present further witness at the Supreme Court. No room for him. So they will just go to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court will look into the presentation of the appeal court and nothing else. So they have nothing to gain.
Good morning.
Hello.
Kindly turn down the volume of your TV set. All right, so let's let that go. Okay, let's take our last. Our time is fast spent, but if you can help us in just 2 minutes, and let's quickly round off in that regard. There's a story. Okay, let me leave that one and then take the next one. Labour alleges fresh move to sell 110 Unity schools. Tells portfolio carrying investors to leave FGCs alone. And I'm just wondering, Unity schools, if you have to go back in time of how much Unity schools have helped a lot of people, and then if it was ever true, selling the Unity schools, is that actually a step in any direction at all? That's one on the side. 2 questions in 2 minutes. Help us trash it. The next one on Vanguard newspaper say pressure on petrol as diesel prices hit 97.17 US dollar per barrel. And I recall the spokesperson of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I beg your pardon, saying that fuel price would stop at 600 naira 17 kobo, or 617 naira, I beg your pardon, and it will not move ahead of that. And that was when the global prices was around $86 per barrel. But now that it is $97 per barrel, maybe hitting $100 per barrel, we don't know how much it will hit before from now till December. So if they still tell us that they will not increase fuel prices, does it actually mean that we might be paying subsidy from the backyard? Or what does this mean to you?
Not that I don't think it's because they are paying subsidy from the backyard. I don't think so. His opinion, to me, the way I understood it, is that we have heard from the Minister of Petroleum Honorable Henikin that between now and December, the Port Harcourt refinery will start producing. Then even Kaduna refinery will start producing before the next before March next year or something around March next year. So what the president was saying was that if Port Harcourt refinery start working and Kaduna refinery start working, there will be no need for any increase in.
But even though we've heard that they will start working anytime soon, do you actually see it working from now till December?
It's about political will. For him to have said it, let us wait and see if he has the political will to make these refineries work. Once refineries are working, our refineries are working, there will be no need for any subsidy anywhere. And for him to have announced that subsidy is gone, I think he will have that political will to ensure that our refineries work. And if refineries work, there will be no need for any fuel increase in the pump price of petroleum in Nigeria.
All right, so I wish I could actually let you take the other one, but let's leave it at that. Thank you so much, Richard Oriri. It's always a pleasure having this talk with you.
It was great to have you on the program with us.